Has anyone been to a funeral before?
I've been to my great-grandfather's.
I've never been to one.
I bet people during World War I have been to many funerals.
Because during World War I, 11 million soldiers died. Is there usually a bench at a funeral? It looks so colorful.
No, not usually. So why is it there?
And what's painted on it?
Our work on the bench represents Aboriginal culture.
The maple leaf represents Canadian Aboriginal people.
The wings are metaphors for courage, bravery, and strength.
The bench was created to commemorate the soldiers whose efforts were overlooked during the Great War.
On the back of the bench, it looks like the names of people and tailors were painted.
They're on the back because they were forgotten.
Many of them joined the war in an effort to gain recognition and equality.
Sadly, only during battle were they recognized.
They were met with the same racist stereotypes that existed previously.
She has received a letter. Dear Patty White, we regret to inform you that John Thompson was killed in action. We are sorry for your loss. Sincerely, Lieutenant James Smith.
On the first day, we learned how there were many other groups that contributed to the military war effort, such as the Black, Sikh, French, Chinese, underage, and First Nations Canadians.
Minorities deserve much greater representation for the efforts of the war, not just the majorities. Today, we can see that we have much better representation and recognition that we should not take for granted.
On the second day, we learned that it was not only men that contributed to the war. Women served as nurses, made artillery, were engineers, and kept things running back at home.
Many women contributed, and as a country, we began to recognize them in society, proving that they could do what men could. Today, we see that society, women, like men, have the right to vote.
On the third day, we learned that propaganda was used to encourage men to enlist.
Propaganda was not only used to enlist, but to persuade women that their contributions were needed as well, such as saving money that could later be used to help pay the way for the war.
The men who enlisted thought they would be home within 6 months. No one was prepared for such a gruesome fight that had them living in unsanitary trenches and horrible conditions.
We also learned that animals were used during the war. For example, horses were used to blow artilleries. Since cars at the time were still extremely unsophisticated, tanks were developed, but soldiers could still move faster on foot.
In the trenches, the soldiers risked death at any moment. They suffered in conditions that are unimaginable to us today. Now we know that we should not take such things for granted, and that they fought to bring us to where we are now.
On the fourth day, we learned how the soldiers felt during the war. They had family and a whole life ahead of them back at home. Each of them had people waiting at home, but they knew at any moment they could die.
These soldiers during World War I fought for our freedom. We learned that war is terrible, merciless, but also changed the world greatly to what we have today.